Hey, 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 English learners, and welcome back to English Comfort Podcast. I'm Maya.
And I'm Ethan.
Today's story begins long before anyone gets lost. It begins with a dream that lived quietly in someone's heart for many years.
That dream belonged to a young man named Alex. Whenever someone asked him, if you could visit any city in the world, his answer was always the same: London.
He imagined walking beside the River Thames, watching the famous red buses pass by, stopping at little cafes, listening to people speaking English all around him. It wasn't just a holiday. It was a dream he hoped would come true one day.
And after years of saving money, that day finally arrived. Alex packed his suitcase, boarded the plane, and smiled as the city of London slowly appeared beneath the clouds. His adventure was about to begin.
The moment Alex stepped out of the train station, he stopped walking. Not because he was tired, but because he wanted to take it all in. The city was even more beautiful than he had imagined.
Bright red double-decker buses rolled through the streets. Black taxis drove past one after another. People hurried to work with cups of coffee in their hands. Some tourists were taking pictures. Others were studying maps. London was busy, but somehow it also felt peaceful.
Alex smiled. This is exactly how I imagined it, he thought. He wasn't in a hurry. He wanted to enjoy every street, every building, every little moment.
He walked slowly along the sidewalk. On one corner, a musician played a beautiful song on the violin. Near the next street, a flower shop filled the air with the fresh smell of roses and lavender. People stopped for a moment to listen. Some smiled. Some quietly dropped a few coins into the musician's hat.
Alex took out his camera. He photographed the old buildings, the colorful doors, the quiet cafes. Even the street signs looked interesting to him. Everything felt new. Everything felt exciting.
After walking for almost an hour, Alex noticed a small cafe on a quiet street. It wasn't full of tourists. It looked like a place where local people came every morning. Large windows filled the room with sunlight. Fresh pastries were displayed behind the counter. The smell of coffee drifted out through the open door.
Without thinking twice, Alex walked inside. A woman behind the counter welcomed him with a friendly smile. "Good morning," she said. "What can I get for you?"
Alex felt a little nervous. This was his first real conversation in London. He smiled politely. "Could I have a cappuccino and a chocolate croissant, please?" "Of course," the woman replied. "That'll be £6.50."
A few minutes later, Alex was sitting beside the window, watching people walk past, sipping his coffee. Everything felt perfect. He thought, "This is going to be one of the best days of my life."
When he finished his breakfast, he picked up his backpack, looked at the map on his phone, and chose his next destination: Covent Garden. It didn't look very far, so instead of taking the underground, he decided to walk.
It seemed like the perfect decision. The sun was shining, the streets were full of life, and Alex couldn't wait to discover more of the city. He had no idea that only a few streets later, his perfect morning was about to take a very unexpected turn. Alex left the cafe with a smile on his face. The cappuccino had been delicious. The morning sun was shining. Everything seemed perfect. He looked at the map on his phone one last time. Covent Garden was only a short walk away. So close, he thought. I'll be there in no time.
As he walked, London continued to surprise him. A quiet little bookstore caught his attention. A few minutes later, a street artist was painting a beautiful picture of Tower Bridge. Alex stopped to watch. Then he noticed a small market filled with handmade gifts. Without realizing it, he had wandered away from the route on his map.
When he finally reached into his pocket for his phone, the screen stayed black. He pressed the power button. Nothing. The battery had died. Alex smiled. "It's okay," he said quietly. "I'll remember the way."
He chose a street and kept walking, then another. A few minutes later, he stopped. The buildings looked unfamiliar. The cafes were different. Even the street names meant nothing to him. For the first time that morning, he felt a little nervous.
Friends, have you ever been somewhere completely new and suddenly realized you didn't know where to go?
Alex took a slow, deep breath. He looked around carefully. People walked past without noticing him. The city was busy. Everyone seemed to know exactly where they were going. Everyone except Alex.
He could have panicked. Instead, he remembered something his father always told him. When you're lost, stay calm. There's always someone willing to help.
Just across the street, Alex noticed an elderly woman sitting on a bench with a small white dog beside her. She was reading a book. She looked up, their eyes met, and she smiled. At that moment, Alex knew exactly what he needed to do.
Alex stood quietly for a moment. His heart was beating a little faster. He had learned English for years, but asking a stranger for help still felt difficult. What if I make a mistake, he wondered. What if she doesn't understand me?
The woman closed her book and smiled again. It was a warm, friendly smile, the kind of smile that made people feel comfortable. Alex took one deep breath, walked across the street, and stopped beside the bench. "Excuse me," he said politely. "Could you please help me? I think I'm lost."
The woman looked at him for a second. Then she laughed softly. "Oh, don't worry," she said. "London can be confusing, even for people who live here." Alex couldn't help smiling.
She looked at the piece of paper Alex had taken from his pocket. "So, you're trying to get to Covent Garden?" Alex nodded. "Yes, but my phone battery died." "I see," the woman replied. "Well, you're actually walking in the opposite direction."
Alex laughed. He couldn't believe it. Instead of getting closer, he had been walking farther away. "I guess today isn't going exactly as I planned," he said. The woman smiled. "Sometimes those are the best days."
She stood up, picked up her book, and gently held the dog's leash. "I'm going that way," she said. "If you'd like, we can walk together." Alex's face lit up. "Really? That would be wonderful. Thank you so much."
As they walked through the quiet streets, they started talking. The woman asked Alex where he was from, why he had chosen London, and what he wanted to see during his trip. Little by little, the conversation became easier.
Alex stopped worrying about making mistakes. Sometimes he searched for the right word. Sometimes he made a small grammar mistake. But the woman listened patiently. She never interrupted him. She simply smiled and kept the conversation going.
Friends, have you ever met someone who made you feel comfortable from the very first conversation? Sometimes, one kind person can completely change your day.
After a few minutes, the woman pointed toward a lively street filled with cafes, flowers, and music. "There it is," she said with a smile. "Welcome to Covent Garden." Alex looked around in amazement. He had finally arrived, but somehow he felt that the real adventure had only just begun.
Alex looked around with amazement. Covent Garden was even more beautiful than he had imagined. Musicians were performing in the middle of the square. People gathered around them, smiling and clapping. Small cafes filled the streets. Colorful flowers decorated the balconies. The whole place felt alive.
"I'm Emily," the woman said with a smile. "I don't think I ever told you my name." Alex smiled back. "I'm Alex." "It's nice to meet you." Emily laughed softly. "I think getting lost was a lucky accident." Alex laughed too. "I think you're right."
Emily pointed toward a small cafe hidden between two old buildings. "It serves the best hot chocolate in the city," she said. "Would you like to try it?" Alex hesitated for a second. Then he smiled. "I'd love to."
They found a table near the window. Outside, people continued walking through the square. Inside, the cafe was warm and peaceful. The smell of fresh coffee filled the room. It felt like time had slowed down.
For almost an hour, They talked about everything: travel, books, family, different cultures, and, of course, the English language. Alex was surprised. The conversation felt natural. He wasn't translating every sentence in his head anymore. He was simply speaking.
Emily noticed it too. "You know," she said, "when we first met, you looked very nervous." Alex smiled. "I was. I was afraid I'd make mistakes." Emily shook her head gently. "But you did make mistakes." Alex looked surprised. "I did?" "Of course," she said with a laugh. "So did I." They both laughed together.
At that moment, Alex understood something important. A good conversation isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about connecting with another person, listening, smiling, sharing stories. That's what people remember.
As the afternoon slowly turned into evening, Emily stood up. "It was lovely meeting you, Alex. I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip." Alex thanked her once again. "If I hadn't gotten lost today," he said, "I would never have met you." Emily smiled. "Sometimes the wrong road takes us to the right place." Alex watched as she disappeared into the crowd. He smiled to himself. He knew he would never forget this day.
That evening, Alex took the train back to his hotel. He found a seat by the window. As the city slowly passed by, he thought about everything that had happened. When he woke up that morning, he believed the best part of his trip would be the famous places: Big Ben, Tower Bridge, Covent Garden. But he had been wrong.
The most unforgettable part of the day was meeting someone he had never expected to meet. A kind stranger, a simple conversation, and a reminder that the world is often friendlier than we imagine.
Alex smiled as he looked out of the window. He realized something else. For the first time in a long time, he had spoken English for almost an entire afternoon. Not perfectly, but naturally. He hadn't been thinking about grammar. He hadn't been translating every sentence in his head. He had simply talked.
That gave him a new kind of confidence. He finally understood that learning a language isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about connecting with people, sharing moments, telling stories, and understanding each other.
Back in his hotel room, Alex opened his notebook. Every evening during his travels, he liked to write a few lines about his day. At the top of the page, he wrote, "Day 1 in London." Then he stopped for a moment, smiled, and added one more sentence.
"Today, I got lost. But maybe getting lost was the best thing that could have happened." He closed the notebook, turned off the light, and fell asleep with a smile on his face.
Friends, have you ever had an experience that seemed like a problem at first, but later became one of your favorite memories?
Life is full of unexpected moments. Sometimes the plans we make don't work out, but that doesn't always mean something has gone wrong. Sometimes those unexpected moments become the stories we remember forever.
And that's exactly what happened to Alex. He arrived in London hoping to discover a beautiful city. Instead, he discovered something even more valuable: the kindness of strangers, the joy of real conversations, and the confidence to simply speak. Sometimes the greatest adventures begin the moment we stop being afraid. And that's the end of today's story. We hope you enjoyed traveling through the streets of London with Alex. Sometimes the best stories begin with a simple mistake, and sometimes getting lost helps us discover something we never expected.
Alex thought he was looking for famous places, but what he found was much more valuable: a meaningful conversation, a kind stranger, and the confidence to speak English without worrying about being perfect.
Every journey teaches us something. Some journeys teach us about new places. Others teach us about ourselves. Alex returned home with beautiful memories, But he also returned with something he couldn't buy: confidence.
The next time you travel, or the next time you have the chance to speak English, remember Alex's story. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You never know where one simple conversation might lead.
Friends, if you could spend one day in London, where would you go first? Would you visit Big Ben? Walk across Tower Bridge? Explore Covent Garden? Or would you search for a small cafe, just like Alex did? Tell us your answer in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
And if you enjoyed today's story, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to English Comfort Podcast. We'll have many more relaxing English stories waiting for you.
Thank you so much for listening. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep enjoying English, one story at a time.
We'll see you in the next adventure.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care and see you next time.